Hey guys, and welcome back to ScreenFEED. Well, today I want to do an exciting review about American Horror Story, so let's get to it. So I did say I wanted to talk about American Horror Story, maybe as a whole. I don't really want to be talking about any spoilers for the new season because I know obviously everyone's still watching it weekly. And there's a lot of hype about the new season, which I'm really kind of excited about because it's kind of taken a different turn. It's very dark, and that's kind of what I enjoy about it. But I will talk about the final season at some point, probably in a different video, especially when it's done, so we can all kind of reflect back on the episodes we really did enjoy. But for now, I just wanted to kind of watch and talk about all of the seasons from season 1 to season 9, and just kind of talk about my feelings towards the first couple of seasons, which I know everybody really talks about. Every time I go out, I always ask people, what was your favourite season in American Horror Story? And they always talk about the first three. Maybe not so much the first one. The first one was kind of a platform for what it is now. And then they obviously got better. We obviously had The Murder House, which I really did enjoy. And then season 2, Asylum, just completely knocked it out of the park. And I thought, wow, this is so cool. A whole season about patients in an insane asylum, and the fact that they're there under false pretenses, they're there against their will, and you can obviously realize how hard it was back in that time. I think it was set in the 1930s, 1940s, pretty much 50 years before the present time. Obviously, patients had no say of how they were feeling. It was all to do with the doctors and the nuns back at that time to actually declare you insane, pretty much. Even if you weren't insane, everything was very how can I say, religious driven, if that makes sense. Everything was just kind of fearful God, and if you're insane, you're insane, and it was all about corporal punishment. And yeah, I think kind of focusing on that aspect of season 2 Asylum, I think it was very interesting how things really progressed that badly for that time, and you really start to think to yourself, wow, that really happened at that point, or you were unfortunate that had to happen to you, or somebody framed you. And I'm going off topic, but I thought Asylum was brilliant. Probably one of my favourite seasons. I did love season 3 straight after Asylum, obviously. Coven, I thought that was absolutely brilliant. Jessica Lange as the main witch, as the Supreme, obviously. She was absolutely amazing. I just like the whole kind of vibe of season 3. I grew up watching witchy movies, vampire movies, so season 3 was pretty much one of my favourites. The stories was amazing. The characters were brilliant. The way they kind of introduced Kathy Bates, she's an absolutely amazing actress. I loved her in Misery. Everything that she's done, she's been amazing. But when she was introduced to the cast for season 3, I was like, wow, this is going to be good. And when I saw the trailer, I thought, wow, it's going to be amazing. I was absolutely hooked from start to finish. Every single week I was watching it. I loved it, and it's just brilliant. Even Freak Show on season 4, I did enjoy it. Obviously, they did introduce a lot of new characters. Obviously, Jessica Lange was still in it, but even though season 4 was just so different. Obviously, when the first trailer comes out for these seasons, you're kind of thinking, well, obviously it's something to do with the intro. Like with obviously Coven, you had kind of like the Salem kind of witchy aspect to it, and it was the same with Asylum. If I didn't already say in the intro, you kind of had a feel of what the whole season was like. Whereas season 3 was actually kind of really kind of witchy kind of thing. And then they just kind of started introducing like circus and performance and very strange creatures. So you didn't. I mean, you kind of grasp what season 4 was going to be, and from watching from 1 to 3, you're thinking, right, this is what I really need to focus on. And everybody was talking about the intros of, oh, what's the season going to be like? Oh, it's going to be about a circus freaks. Obviously, it's called Freak Show. And you had Finn Whitrock. He was introduced as one of the characters. And he played this kind of very childish, kind of uncontrollable character. He was kind of just there getting his own way. He was very rich. He was a part of a rich family. His mum let him get away with murder, pun intended. But I think it was really cool. I did enjoy it. Season 5 was very interesting. Obviously, they introduced Lady Gaga. Absolutely amazing. When I heard she was going to be doing this, I thought, oh God, it's going to be a complete train wreck. But I was really, really surprised. And obviously watching her in A Star Is Born, obviously she was absolutely amazing. And I knew she was going to be amazing when I first watched the trailer. But in American Horror Story, she just completely blew me away. I thought she was absolutely amazing. She was definitely one to look at because obviously Jessica Lange wasn't in this season. You're thinking, oh, they're just replacing her with Lady Gaga as the lead. And from all the research I looked into, Jessica Lange was going to play that kind of character, but they did have to change it around quite a lot. But I really think she did the role justice. She was absolutely perfect, and I just loved the whole kind of vampire kind of thing. I grew up with vampires, so I thought Hotel was absolutely brilliant. And just the other characters as well. The other characters, it was Dennis O'Hara. I think you pronounce his second name. He was absolutely brilliant, playing that kind of drag queen, caretaker. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. I loved them all in Hotel. I think as it progressed with Hotel, the story was getting a little muffled. Obviously, you had Sally, Sarah Paulson. She was absolutely brilliant. She was brilliant in all of them. Sarah Paulson, I do love her. Season 6, you had Roanoke. Now, okay, there's a few things I want to say about Roanoke. I did like the whole kind of Blair Witch Project. I could see what they were trying to do, and I don't know, I just couldn't get my mind around it. I just found it very confusing. I mean, it might have been the time, there was a lot of different shows in at that point, but you had all these different characters being introduced. A lot of them weren't coming back from the previous seasons, and I just found it really hard to relate to. It was very difficult trying to choose kind of a main character, and it was very messy from what I thought about it. I've only watched it from start to finish once. All the other seasons, like season 1 to season 4 and even Hotel, I watched them back to back quite a few times, so I got to know the story quite well. The characters I knew and loved. But with Roanoke, I just didn't have the momentum to just watch it again. And a lot of people were saying the same thing, how from season 3 it kind of went downhill. I disagree. I really enjoyed it from 1 to 5, Hotel, but Roanoke I just couldn't get my mind around, unfortunately. Cult was quite interesting. Evan Peters, again, absolute legend of a character. At the time, we were going through the election with Trump and everything, and all of that was trending news and everything like that. So Cult was kind of the perfect time for it to come out, and I see what they were kind of trying to do with the whole season. I did enjoy it, but it just wasn't the same as watching the previous seasons. I know every different season's a different story, but I don't know. It just didn't quite feel like watching American Horror Story. I felt this was more psychological than anything else. I know obviously a lot of them were, but this was just very... I don't know, maybe I need to just watch it again. Because I think I would probably prefer it watching it second time around, but I don't know, I was kind of off with it. Again, I'd love to hear your comments if you could shed any light what you thought about the season, Cult. But I must admit, Evan Peters, if it was any other character apart from Evan Peters, I probably would have just been lost, but he was brilliant. He's such a diverse character. I think he's quite underrated. He doesn't get enough credit for what he does. He's obviously been in the X-Men movies and things like that, so he is pretty much up and coming, and yeah, just well done to him, I suppose. So obviously after Cult, we had Apocalypse, which, again, I was really, really surprised. I feel like season 8 really redeemed itself. But I think even more so because I think there was a lot of hype at the time. A lot of people wanted to kind of revisit those other characters from the past. Like, for example, I remember reading an article saying that there was potential news or potential gossip that we were going to get like a season 2 of The Coven. And that season seemed the most popular. It seemed the most trendy. Everybody was talking about it. Everybody loved it. And when everybody kind of heard that they were going to kind of carry on from there, I think people just kind of jumped out their seats. Again, hoping that it was going to be amazing, just like season 3. And again, they just did not disappoint. I absolutely loved it. Season 3 was my all-time favorite. I know I keep going on about season 3, but I can't get enough about it. I must admit, I do watch it from time to time. I normally put it on as background noise. So you can really tell from like my reaction. It's such a brilliant season. If you've never watched it, I'm hoping you'll obviously see this and think, I should probably revisit those seasons again. And if you've never watched it, you really should watch it. Watch it. So anyway, Apocalypse. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. The whole kind of, obviously Jessica Lange wasn't in it. I mean, she kind of was for an episode, but I mean, that was just amazing. The fact that she came back just for that one episode. I think his name, Cody Fern, he was absolutely amazing. And I just loved the whole kind of, how dark it was, the fact that they introduced demonism and all that kind of things, all the kind of aspects of like demonology, that kind of thing, I just absolutely love. I'm really disappointed I never really got more into it, really. It was definitely a thing they weren't teaching at school, obviously. But no, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was brilliant. You obviously had Emma Roberts. I didn't really talk about her before, but she's absolutely amazing. I loved her in Coven. I loved her in everything that she's been in. She's such a diverse character, and I just love her as a character in American Horror Story. She just plays this badass kind of bitch, and she just knows she's a bitch, and I just absolutely love her. And the fact that they got the witches coming back for this season was absolutely amazing. Myrtle Snow, I just absolutely love her. She was just one of those characters to watch. Her whole personality, her character was just so enticing. It was just so immersive. I just love her. I think she's brilliant. Moving on to 1984. Again, I could kind of see what they were doing. It was like this kind of Halloween kind of murder camp thing. Again, I was just thinking they're just trying too hard. I can really understand where they're coming from, and I just don't think it worked. It wasn't a season I would really go back to. I think thinking about it, talking about it now, I think I probably would, but I just had no momentum to just revisit that season. I think they were just kind of trying too hard, trying to make it this kind of 80s reality, and I just find that very cheesy. It's almost like when you're watching a B movie and it's almost like, well, it's obviously come out in like 2017, but it looks like it was shot in the 80s, and I know there's a few films that purposely tried to do that, but I just find it very cheesy, if that's the word I can only use. But talking about the new season, again, I don't really want to talk too much about it because we're obviously still talking about it, but for now, from what I've seen, I obviously think about Hotel because they kind of went down this kind of vampire, bloodsucker kind of road. That's kind of how they went down with Lady Gaga. But with this season, double feature, they kind of are going down that road, but it's very different. The approach is very different. I love the fact that Macaulay Culkin's in it. When I first heard that, I thought, oh my God, this is going to be redemption for him. It's going to be absolutely amazing. And he's good. He's absolutely really good. Evan Peters, he's in all of these seasons. You can't fault him. He really just makes these seasons come alive. God, I really wish Jessica Lange would come back, but she even hates horror. From what I've heard in interviews, she just absolutely hates it. But moving on. So yeah, well, I think when you're watching something like American Horror Story, you either love it or you hate it. I know there's a lot of people out there that just don't like watching horror or anything supernatural, but if you haven't, or even if you've considered watching this and you like things like horror or anything supernatural, I would really recommend you watch these. I would advise you starting to watch these from season 1 because obviously you start watching season 2 or season 3, there's a lot of things you'll probably miss because in its own strange way it is kind of connected. but naturally started from season 1. One of the things I just truly love, I love watching horror, so I will probably do a lot more horror in future. I'd love to hear your comments, what kind of films you'd like to watch, or anything you'd want me to review in future. Just comment below, let me know, and we can sort something out. I mean, I can go on and on about American Horror Story. There's just so many plots and so many twists and turns, and there's just so many characters to mention. I mean, I would mention every single one of them, but there's just so many great characters in this. And if you've not seen American Horror Story, I would beg you to watch it, because it is absolutely brilliant. But if you've got the outlet to watch this, and if you have the time, watch it. It's absolutely incredible. I do love American Horror Story. Season 10, I mean, how long could that go on for? They've got so much potential to do different stories. I just hope they really think these through, and it would be good to revisit these seasons again. Like, if they did like a spin-off to Asylum, that would be amazing. If they could reintroduce those characters, and I don't know, I mean, it's very difficult because you don't want to tamper with those kind of characters, because you don't want to really mess anything up. But I think with Coven, like I said before, I think with doing Apocalypse, I thought that was just genius, the way they kind of moved that into that kind of time. I thought that was brilliant. So anyway, guys, have you watched American Horror Story? Have you watched all of them? Do you have a favourite season? Have you got a favourite character? Please comment below, let me know. Turn on notifications, please follow the channel. I'm just a first time YouTuber. I'm trying to get into the swing of this, so really take it easy on me. But please comment below, let me know. Again, turn on notifications, and hopefully see you guys soon. Cheers. Bye.